All right. What about now? Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Anybody can hear me? Come through. Sorry, guys. I'm broadcasting this and going through a tunnel at the very same time. It's pretty crazy. Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, clouds and swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys all survived yesterday, and I hope you guys all got the audio. Man, I hope it's coming through. But yeah, there's plenty of day traders who made some money. Long-term portfolios took a little bit of a dive yesterday, but don't worry, that's not a bad thing. That's only bad if you're pulling your money out today. That's it. Otherwise, man, I still think in the future somewhere we get some bigger dips. I think we still get maybe about a 50% drop, but that's just my thought process. We'll see. And we will play what the cards give us. So let me just pull up where we are at today, because it does look like we're getting a slight little dead cat bounce. A little bit of a dead cat bounce. Let me get the new share up here. All right. That's Tesla. Let's flip this over to SPY real quick. Let's find out where we are currently at in this market with this bounce. Does this bounce mean anything whatsoever? And the answer is a clear no. Nothing at all. I'm not impressed. We are above. Nope, not even there. Yeah. Yep. Change my mind. Yep. So we are at least above 1. If we move higher, the next target is going to be somewhere in the 396.71 zone. That would be my target. I wouldn't look for much more. We still have on the hourly chart the 10 EMA. That's got some room. So again, at open, I think that comes down a little bit further. That's going to add some additional pressure. If we take a look at this gap, though, it was an astonishing sell-off. The only thing that gives us any kind of hope that there's a bounce, and I don't think, I mean, obviously we are bouncing a little bit, right? So we're bouncing very, very slight, I think, like hardly anything, but we are bouncing a little bit. We could get up to here and then we roll. Something like that could make sense, just kind of retest. But as long as we're holding up this range, which is somewhere in this I don't know what it is, 389 zone, 390.78. As long as we can hold that, there's a little bit of hope, just a tad, that we do this, or this was the retest, and then we could break and push higher. There's all that could be true. Again, the inflation thing was big. Inflation was big. Actually read this morning that some folks believe there's a 33% chance the Fed goes for a full point. I think the 0.75 is I think that's almost locked. I think CPI will give the Fed just enough reason to do a 0.75, keep it within reason. Yeah, I can see a full 0.2. That would be crazy, but I can see it. The keep in mind the main problem with the inflation report, because it obviously missed and all that stuff, is the core inflation, right? So they come out with different levels. Core inflation, that takes away food costs, and that takes away gas prices. Those two, and the reason why the core is the most important is because both food and gas are volatile, right? So they'll move the most. But if you're looking at core, that's stuff that doesn't really move as much, and they missed on that one. That's the one that, because you could make, I mean, next month food could be way down and gas could be way down, could be way up for both. Like they're both very volatile. The core inflation is the big one, and that was a miss. And I think that's where a lot of the investors in the market took it as this is not good. They don't have any control. Is there a schedule you all include? YouTube side. Not a clue what you mean, Richard Jet from the Jetsons. Yeah, and I don't know. Can you just ask that question again? Joe says, Jose says, nice S curve. Is that on the SPY? Probably to what I drew before. Yeah, I can see us coming up a little bit. Again, we did nothing but sell all day yesterday. Do I want to wake up this morning and do I want to put on my happy shoes and start dancing around and buy all the stocks? I highly doubt it. I mean, no, I threw those shoes out the window yesterday. It's crazy. This one on Tesla, though, I think we can make some more money in the bearish direction. Again, we did not. All right, let's just break down this chart real quick. Number one, first thing I look for, VPOC of yesterday's close. Did we break a trend, and how deep of a trend did we break? I would say yes. Beautiful stair step pattern up. Even if we would go to a 50% retrace on this one, which I think it's too early to even come in with the fibs. But we'll do something like, oops. All right, so we have stair step, beautiful pattern up. If we were to get a retrace, the 50% is only at 286.28. That's not unreasonable for today. We also have the next VPOC at 286.84. We got maybe about a $3 move to the downside. All of this entire move on this gap down, breaking trends, bearish engulfing candle. We had a rest candle. We had a retest. What do they call this? The three white soldiers, the resting pattern. So bearish engulfing, we retested right into that VPOC. We rejected, remix. And then we possibly, I think we could come down, fall a little bit more. 286.95 would be my initial first target on Tesla. So I would highly look at that one at open. Does not qualify for the 10 EMA yet because we have to break the other, which is okay too. We can still make some money. But for official rules, or just me looking for a trade, I kind of like the breakdown on Tesla. Richard says, for all access pass, what days do you do pre-market analysis on YouTube? Yeah, so we have the all access pass. That is not the YouTube. YouTube is something that we do. So like right now we are in all access pass. This is just the first 30 minutes. I believe we should, I thought we were, or whoever, because there's different moderators. Anytime I'm on the mic in the morning, which you can check the schedule if you go to reallifetrading.com, go to live trading, scroll down a little bit, you'll see a calendar. Anytime you see my name, DJ Dan, you'll see, like, I'll broadcast all the time. I think Stephen King broadcasts all the time. I'm not sure if Maloney, I don't know if Maloney's in the house. I'm not sure if she does or she doesn't. Just only because I don't know if she has access to the YouTube channel. But if she is not, or we're missing a day where we're not actually going live, quite honestly, I'm just not aware of it. So I will shoot a message out just to make sure that we all have access to try to get it for every day. I think that's what you're asking, Richard Jet. But Gina says, good morning. What's the trade on Tesla? I'm only looking bearish Tesla. I think VPOC wise, and Gina's in the mentor group. So we kind of went over the VPOCs, and we're going to learn, I think we're going to go over some of the fibs or Elliott waves. I think one of them for the next one. But yeah, my target on this one is 291. Again, could we get a little dead cat bounce first? Right now, we're going to sit there, do nothing. According to official rules for 10 EMA, we have to break down the low of yesterday or the high of yesterday. I don't think we hit the high. I think we have a better shot at the low. But I could definitely see some good room down on Tesla. We've got AMD. Looks like not good. Just not good. This is the area we really had to hold. 78.88. We ended up putting a VPOC in below that. Could we get a retest? Yes. The closest you could buy it to The closer you could buy to 78.27, the more of a hero you could potentially be. In fact, that's a trade I would also look for. It's not going to qualify again for the official 10 EMA. If I take something else, I'll let you guys know. But I would not mind personally seeing this curve up again. We get a little bit of buying. It's close to that 78.27 as I could buy it. I could probably even throw a stop, maybe. Let's see what that is. Somewhere in the 79.64. It's about 40 cents of risk. It does not look like a we recover from this gap that quickly, to be honest. Not a good performance from AMD yesterday. We've got NVDA. We also got Rock in the house too. I missed this comment. I'm just so far behind, but I do see all your comments coming into the chat pane. We got NVIDIA. Again, not a pleasant look for NVIDIA. Next target on this one is $100. And even though I don't think it's going to hit $100 today, I'm going to throw it out there just in case. And then everyone will be like, well, how in the world did you get NVIDIA going to hit $100? That's crazy. On a day trade. Yeah, it looks very weak. There's really nothing holding up NVIDIA. So again, NVIDIA very, very, very weak. We said, or we, as if like I'm talking in multi-personalities. I guess that's where I get the we from. But I said yesterday, I was like, look, if we break this level, this was about somewhere in that opening range candle pretty much. If we break that and we close below it, it's the time to get some puts. Could we get a little bit of a bounce? You might get some better pricing on those puts. I think something like that is potential. This could also just be a 1, 2. This is what I'm afraid of. And I think this would make day trading a little bit harder today. But if this turns out to be some kind of a 1, 2, and we're just in a 3, keep in mind, we didn't even break out of that hourly candle yesterday. And then we're like, okay, we broke down, but we didn't retest, and we're just waiting for that retest, and then we're only catching that wave 5, something like that. Jordan Fox says, Rock is going to crush another day. It's in his contract. It's in his contract. He has to. Legally, he has to crush every single day. It's crazy. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. All right, we got Apple. Apple has a little bit more support, so I'm not as excited to short the pants off of Apple today. Probably let it go. We're in some kind of a tight range, so if it starts to break out of this 155, we might get some room up to about 156.42-ish. If it comes down, we'd have to break 153.99. We're still kind of holding that level a little bit. It is still Apple. I don't think we just rush out. I think we do have a gap fill a little bit further back, somewhere in the 150 zone. I'd at least be looking for 151.44. I think the direction to attempt would be to stay bearish on an Apple. I just don't think it's going to be a free fall, and I think we're going to get faced with a little bit of chop. So Apple would not be my favorite. I think I still would lean bearish, but NVIDIA, AMD, and Tesla all have looked a little bit better. What to do if NVIDIA is one of your long-term positions? Hold on to the shares long-term and buy puts for the next 2 to 3 months. I do not want to give you financial advice, Tony, but here's what I would consider. Also, you're in the UK. I don't know how the tax system works. I think everybody just pays taxes in T. I'm not quite sure, but keep in mind that when you sell a stock, you cause, typically, at least for the US, you cause a tax, what do you call it? you will get taxed on the sale of it, right? If you buy, so especially, I don't know how big the position is for NVIDIA that you're trying to protect, all that stuff. If you buy a put and you make money on the put, you're still holding NVIDIA, so that's not a taxable event, but you'd only pay taxes obviously on the put that you're making profits on. Liability, there you go. Okay, I like it. So yeah, so just keep in mind, when you strategize about how your plan is, it depends on one, how long you've held NVIDIA for. If you've held, also, again, this is the US. I don't know about, like, I don't even know. Well, I don't even know what my neighbor looks like. I don't even leave the house. Like, that's how localized I like to be. But but if you're holding a position for less than a year, at least in the US, it's capital gain tax, right? If you're holding it for more than a year, it's not capital gain, so you're going to pay less taxes. If typically, especially for the long term, like if it's true long term, I'm not selling it for 10 years, but I could look at a chart like NVIDIA and go, I could look at the overall market and go, I could look at the Qs and go, uh-oh. And then I'm going to be taking out, for me, I would take out puts, protect the position down. You can make some money as the stock moves. And then once you're profitable on those puts, if you want to take that money, dollar cost average, if the market still looks weak, you could re-up and kind of roll those puts into a little bit further out from that point. But that's how I would probably play it. But again, that's just all things to consider for what the best move is. And again, just going, hey, I got some NVIDIA. What do I do? Sell or get some puts? That's a loaded question for me, but that's most likely how I would look to play it, with puts as opposed to just selling shares. I hope I some way, somehow, by dancing around the actual question, also answered the question. Amazon, yeah, this would be one that, again, I think at open we might get some selling. It's at a decent resistance. If we start to break out on Amazon 127.63, this actually might give us a little bit of a long position in a weird way. We do have some room to the upside, probably about $2. I'm not the most excited person about going long. However, we could still, even in the SPY, we could be in for some kind of dead cat bounce in the early morning. We get some people going, okay, it's not that bad. So what? I got to pay an extra 10 cents on Cheerios. Doesn't matter. But I think as the day plays out, anything that gets bought up today will sell. Just my opinion, but that's how I'm going to be playing the markets. All right. Rich says, if you have 100 shares, look at covered calls too. Yes, you can do that as well. Yep. So if you have 100 shares, you could sell a call. That would be income. You could also, I don't know how much time we have. We got 10 minutes. So technically, if you have 100 shares or something, let's first start with, you don't have 100 shares. All right. Let's say you have 10 or anything under. You could still buy that put. You're just over protecting, but that you pretty much want your stock to go down at that point, because the put will actually be more valuable than the shares in that, to some extent at least, but you're covering your shares. So even if you don't have 100, you can still protect your position by buying a put. If we squeeze another zero in, now you have 100 shares or something. Technically, you could sell a call. Not usually the best day today after a big massive sell-off to buy those calls just premium-wise, but if we get any kind of a bounce, that would be a better, anytime if we move up a little bit even, you get better prices to sell the call. That would be a covered call only if you have 100 shares, right? So you'll make some money on that. And then you could even take some of the money you've made on selling that call and buy your put for a little bit of time out. And in most cases, if you're going out further as far as price wise, the call that you sold could actually cover the put and give you a free put too, but just have to play around with the numbers on that. Tony says my DCA is a bit high for covered calls. Yes and no. Yes and no. Just fine. Like even though even if you get called away, right? So let's go with, because I get this question a lot. Technically, yes. Technically, you want to sell the cover call higher than the price you got. But when the chart, let's go to NVDA. When the chart looks like this, I think you could probably safely sell the 145.55s, or let's even go 145 because they probably don't have 145.55, but they probably have 145. The odds of you getting into the 145 a month out, it has to go through this resistance, this whole area of resistance, this resistance, and then get above a key level to get back into a gap, right? You could always buy back, even if you are technically, if you're buying, if you want to hold those shares, great. You could always buy back the call at a loss. It's possible, or do nothing, get called away, right? So let's say it's up here, fine. You get called away, you're out of the position, but most likely, even if it does this crazy move, to some point it will come back, retest, and you could probably rebuy those shares right back. If you're like, nah, I need to be in. But this right here does not look super strong to me. I would personally be looking to, at worst case, get some kind of a put or coverage, or if your plan is to sell, you could sell. It's just not my plan. That's why I usually steer away from it. But and also when taxes are considered too, if you sell your shares, right? I mean, you're going to be at a loss on this one. If you're up massively on other things, and you need to also say, okay, I don't mind taking a loss because that will help negate some of the profits. You could sell it, take the loss, and then technically, if you even wanted, you could buy it back, but that would be still counting as a loss as well, which you could then play the little tax game. But again, not a tax professional. I'm barely a professional, to be honest. Barely professional. Some other things moving today. Square. I wouldn't be concerned that it goes lower. I would just expect it to go lower, to be honest, Tony. But I would probably get a put to cover, and that will at least keep some of that worry at bay. Square, pretty decent gap down. Only thing with this one is we do have a little bit of support down here. I think they just had a double downgrade. So these guys, after a big massive day, they're getting pretty hammered. Even though we have a little bit of support here, we're still gapping down relatively decent. Technically, this is a retest gap. On this one, let's see if we get any kind of push into 67.72. I don't know if we get back to 69.72 today. It's possible, but maybe we get a little bit closer. There could be some people shorting yesterday that, like, pretty obvious short. I mean, good gap down, did nothing. Someone's like, okay, let's hold it tomorrow, see what happens, and then finally they get profitable. But just a noteworthy one. Keep a watch for. I think the downgrade, not the downgrades or upgrades, at least their price targets matter too much. They're pretty much arbitrary numbers, but I think that number was $55 they were putting on it. So if that's true, you still have good $11 to the downside on SQ. And let's take a look at Starbucks. I think they came out with some kind of news of, I don't know if it's expansion or something positive for the business, but this is a self-directed move from Starbucks to keep their stock a little bit higher. Something about, again, how they're going to pivot or expand or things like that, or just relatively speaking, just grow the business. So keep an eye on that. Again, these ones, the Starbucks is gapping up. So it does look different, at least than probably Square, but the rest of the market is getting some kind of a little bounce, at least last time we checked. So into a little bit of resistance. We can see what happens. Obviously, we've got a very good resistance. If we start breaking this 89.09 zone, we probably would have a little bit more room to the upside. Starbucks doesn't move that crazy usually, but you could get some good moves out of it. 89.49 would be the immediate next target. Right now you have some kind of a double top. Again, it is just into a little bit of resistance. Any other stocks, any other tickers, any other things that you wanted to look for? Coinbase. Again, gapping down with the rest of the market. Completely broke the trend. This one I'd be looking for a short as well. Does not look beautiful. This one looks actually very beautiful if you are going to go short on it. Okay, we got lots of room on this one. That's about $5. This actually might be a bigger gap than even Tesla and all those other guys. But we will see. We're still hanging in there. If that starts to break, we even have tweezers under there that we're just kind of retesting into at this point. And doesn't look good if we start to break. So if we find an area on Coinbase, there is room, plenty of it. This one, PayPal also has PayPal's gapping up actually. So yeah, PayPal gapping up. Not quite sure as to why, but that doesn't actually look like a horrible gap. Some kind of support might come in at 96.41. The next support 95.98. So probably wouldn't short that one today. In a weird way, I'd either be going long or waiting for some breakdowns of key numbers if I did want to go short. Boeing. And then David wants to look at NEO. We could take a look at that one as well. And Boeing doesn't look amazing. Target on Boeing would be 143.59. That looks relatively decent to get there as well. Boeing does not look strong whatsoever at this point. So that would give you about $4 to the downside on that one. Let's take a look at NEO. NEO's been ripping last few days at least, and we're finally getting some kind of crack in that. Again, it has been super strong. Technically, even with the entire market coming down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, stair stepping up, good move. Probably due for a little bit of a pullback. If we do come down a little bit further, my target will be 21, 24. I think we catch some kind of bid at that zone. If that one breaks, the next immediate target, which I think is going to be a little bit weaker, but maybe not, because that's right around where the gap is about $20.34. So if we do start really breaking down, that's the zone we could come into. Again, anything for the long term, just keep in mind, NEO is an ADR, also BABA's ADR. You don't have to pay too much attention to it, but if you're thinking long term, ADR is pretty much like, these are not actually traded. The company itself is not traded on the US markets. I would use these guys for trading, not for holding. ADR, you're pretty much trading a series of contracts based on the company price. So that's the time. That's the bell. That's pretty much my alarm. So unfortunately, you guys in YouTube land, and for anybody concerned about the schedules, I will be back with you guys tomorrow, bright and early. I hope you guys stay safe out there in the markets. We will catch all of you guys tomorrow. Take it easy, YouTube land. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I go, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. I almost forgot. I'm so fired.